Welcome back to the It Factor. I cannot wait to introduce my guest today to you. She not only has the It Factor, she teaches the It Factor. So I am so pleased to have Galit on the show with us. And for those of you who are interested in getting picked up in the media, we have a special treat for you because Galit is not only interested in empowering women and inspiring women, she has also been on lots of TV. In fact, she has been featured on ABC, NBC, and Fox. And Galit Ventura-Rozen is a business performance expert, a professional speaker, author of The Successful Woman's Mindset, philanthropist, and really important to me, an influencer. As an entrepreneur, she began her journey at the age of 21, but Galit owns and operates Commercial Professionals, which is a real estate company, for over 22 years now. Galit graduated from the University of Nevada, and she has her Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, and she graduated from North Central University with her master's degree in Marriage and Family Therapy. She combines her unique skills in business mentoring, speaking engagements, and interactive workshops to help businesses and entrepreneurs accomplish their goals and desires, break through fear, affect lasting change, employ motivated teams, increase revenue, and build lucrative businesses from the ground up and take them to the next level. Galit also works with women that are inspired to be professional speakers, sharing their stories and expertise, which is why I am so happy you're joining us today on the It Factor. Welcome, Galit.
Thank you, Meredith. I appreciate that introduction.
Well, first and foremost, you love to share the story of how you found your voice because it helps people recognize their power in finding their voices. Please share it. It's so unique.
It's so interesting because usually when someone says that, you immediately think figuratively. Well, what do you mean, how did she find her voice? Well, for me, there's a literal part to it as well. So when I was 7 years old, I lost my voice. This is actually not the voice that I was born with. This is the voice that chose me. That's what I like to say. So imagine waking up when you're 7 years old and calling out for your mom, and the only thing that comes out is a whisper. So for me, it sounded something like this. Hi, Meredith. How are you?
Wow.
And that really was my voice from about the age of 7 to 13. And what we found out in the early stages was I have a growth on one of my vocal cords. So we all have vocal cords. I have a little bump. So when my vocal cords hit each other, this is the sound that came out, this whisper almost. After years of speech therapy, around the age of 13, we were doing some octave exercises like a singer would, and we pretty much found this voice. So I like to share that it came out of my chest, and then I found my voice. But through that, the experience that I had was just being fearful of being in front of people, standing up in front of a crowd, speaking because my voice would get lost or it would crack when I got more nervous. So I didn't just literally have to find my voice. I figuratively had to accept the fact that sometimes I got nervous and really couldn't speak. So you could say I did my dangdest to stay off the stage, stay out of the center of attention, stay out of the spotlight, because I just didn't want to be made fun of. And kids can be really mean, unfortunately, when you're different and unique. Today, of course, we recognize it's a really good thing, but when you're trying to fit in your younger years, it doesn't feel like it's so great.
Well, I can actually completely relate to that. Many people at home who are watching and who might have been following me on NBC or for years know me for being comfortable being live on TV in front of millions of people. But the truth is I was painfully shy as a child. And it was actually through love and a lot of push through to get through my fear, thanks to my beloved mother's encouragement, that she gave me sometimes no choice but to have to speak up. Like if we were in a restaurant, if you would like a spoon, you have to ask. And I would cry, Galit. So nobody knows. It's so interesting to see you. You're a professional public speaker, though we didn't speak a lot about it yet. And to freeze the energy in a room, I mean, it has been quite a journey. So for me, that's the most fascinating part of the It Factor, is finding your voice and your confidence and the ability to truly be honest about who you are and where you came from. So today, you're in your real estate office, and you have what I would assess, you're not braggadocious, but I'll say an amazing career in Las Vegas. in real estate, you could be content with that. Why do you choose to put so much love, time, and energy? And by the way, Galit has received some amazing, huge accolades. Now, again, most of my guests are not braggadocious, but this is the moment where I'd like you to share. Can you please just name the last 3 awards, maybe even 2 that you received?
It has been so surreal. I've lived in Las Vegas for 32 years, had my business here for 25. My first baby, I call it. Now I'm in my second baby, right? And so let's see, just about 2 weeks ago, I got the National Association of Women Business Owners Women of Distinction Award, which was very cool. There were 105 categories, so I won in my category, which was really big because that was in front of my peers, like all the women that I know, I work with, I go to meetings with. I mean, it was awesome. There were like 300 people there. It was so much. I cried. It was the first award I've cried at. And then about 4 weeks ago, I received the 2019 TMG Entertainment Best of the Best Local Motivational Speaker Award, which was a very big deal. Like, it's been such a crazy journey for me. It just doesn't seem real most days.
Well, we're catching you at the perfect moment, because when things really are on the uptick, there is a perception that things come to people easily. But I have a suspicion that it's been quite a journey for your explosive success. And if you wouldn't mind openly and honestly sharing with people who want to be speaker like you and who aspire to do television or programs like we do all the time, what does it take to get there? Where did you come from, and how did you get started with motivating and speaking?
So the first thing I would recommend is don't focus on TV and speaking. That's just a piece of the journey, that when you want to get your message out and when you're passionate about something, it is important to be visible. And I always talk about my book, The Successful Woman's Mindset, because one of the chapters is called She is Visible. And you must be visible. It's great. I have this beautiful office I'm sitting in right now. It's really big. I could be comfortable in this office for years. And you spoke about that. In commercial real estate, I make quite a bit of money. I've been doing it for 25 years. I work with lots of investors. And I could have just stayed in my comfort zone. But a few years ago, I realized that I had been working largely with male clients and other agents that are male. My profession is largely male agents and clients. So I found that, wait, what about women? And so I'd mentored some women over the years, obviously, that come into my office and that really want to learn commercial real estate. I'm like, no problem, come work with me, I'll teach you. But I realized that there was a whole nother world out there of women that don't believe in themselves and can't see themselves ever being on TV. And by the way, I was one of those people. I would have never, Meredith, if you would have told me a few years ago, you're going to be on TV every month, I would have been like, are you crazy? No. And then I realized that the path is to be visible, to get your message out and to make an impact. So what I could share with your audience is this. Figure out what you love to do, first and foremost.
Yes.
What are you so passionate about that you could talk about it every single day, never feel like it's work, never get tired of talking about it, want to share with as many people that will listen how to be able to do it. And that's really the path. Then, once you center on your passion and what you love to do, which I realized was, I want women to know they can be awesome and do whatever they want, uplift each other instead of cutthroat, support each other, collaborate, just like Meredith and I are doing. Then you need to recognize, okay, this is what I love to do. This is what I know and I can speak about in my sleep. The next step is I've got to be visible. And that's where the professional speaking and the TV and the magazines and stuff showed up, because that's really the only way I can make my impact. Staying in these 4 walls, no one's going to ever know what I do, and no one's ever going to be impacted. Now, don't get me wrong, occasional things like interviews, but I'm a people person. I want to be in front of you as much as I can be.
Well, my audience is really buying what you're selling, because the it factor was designed to showcase the truth is what people want. They don't want the I've already made it and so forth and so on. It's such a journey. And if it doesn't come from your heart, if it's something you're just trying to do for $1, people not only pick up on it, they don't buy it. You know, they can smell fake from a mile away. And what I love about you is your genuine passion for empowering women. And for people at home who are saying, like, where do I start? Like, I might be in real estate, but I might want to do speaking. Like, how did you ease into it? Did you reach out to friends? Did you invest in programs? You write, by the way. I don't want to diminish all of your wonderful areas of success. So let's share for a moment. You write for 5 different magazines. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the way that it all got started, which will lead into why I write for magazines, is I realized I have an area of expertise. And my area of expertise, obviously a lot of us, especially women and also men, we're multifaceted and multi-talented. So I realized my area of expertise is high performance. I'm capable of teaching someone what I do myself, which is 8 hours of work in 4. It's just because I'm so crystal clear focused and I know how to avoid distractions and stuff. So what happened is I sat down and realized, oh my gosh, I've got a lot that I can teach people about high performance, about prioritizing, about goal achieving success, about their to-do list versus their want list or their have-to list, things like that. So I sat back and realized, wait, I've got all this material. So really where to start is sit down, and I like the number 3, like a lot of people. Write down 3 things you're a real expert at, okay? Just write it down, just 3 things, okay? Let's say it's organizing, efficiency, and prioritizing. Now sit down and think, okay, what could I write about? What could I talk about? What could I share that people will learn something from? And a lot of people question themselves at that point, well, why would someone want to learn from me? Trust me, there's always someone out there can learn something from you. And once you write that out, now figure out which medias that you want to be involved in. Is it TV? Is it being interviewed? Is it podcasts? Is it radio? Is it writing? Because not everybody loves to write. Well, people say to me, oh, well, you're a writer. I say, I wouldn't say I'm a writer, and I swear that's not me putting myself down. I have confidence. It's that's just another way for me to share my expertise with you. So stop worrying about being a perfect writer. Well, no, that's not true. My second review on my book was horrible. It's on Amazon. I'm happy sharing it because this is the way that life works. Not everyone is going to fit with you. My first review, Meredith, I'll share it with you, was something like, there's grammatical mistakes in this book, and if you know anything about mindset, you're not going to learn anything. Well, of course, I have 5 other reviews that say something else. But you don't let that affect you because I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. So stop worrying about being judged. Stop worrying about what other people are going to say. Instead, focus on the people that you impact. So for every one person that writes this negative thing about me, I've got 5 people that are like, you're inspiring me, you're amazing, thank you, because of you I started my business. I have one woman, Meredith, she's amazing, her name, well, I won't share it, but she wrote a musical, all the music for a musical called Princess Diana. And she reached out to me, thanked me for her book, but because of me, she had the courage to start on a new musical or a new CD that she hasn't in years because she started questioning herself. So you just need that one person, and it's not even a need. Let's get rid of the word need. At the end of the day, want to impact one person, want it. And that's really what it's about when you're doing it from being a heart-centered person.
Thank you. I love nothing more and resonate with nothing more than being on a mission. My personal mission is to impact millions with my online and in-person audiences, which is why Galit and I think you and I are completely aligned.
Oh, we are, yeah.
And I'll tell you what, whoever that crazy person is who is focused on your grammar probably never wrote a book, because perfection is not what it's about. It's about the message. So they were missing the whole mark, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? It's so funny you framed it that way, because I would like to say to the viewers at home, you know, when people are really tough on you, you have to also consider 2 things. I find this has served me very well. You know, first of all, is this a message I'm getting from the masses, or is this a solo? Because sometimes it's a good piece of feedback. You know, I'll give you an example. After my father passed away, sadly, I just lost my dad, and my parents were living in Las Vegas for several years. And after that, I didn't realize it. I became a little hardened and automatic. because I was really sad. I was really close with my dad, but I'm a doer, much like yourself. I have to focus on what I have to do next. And, I went into a meeting and some people gave me feedback that I was really harsh. And, and that was me at the moment. And they were absolutely correct. And it was great feedback, Galit, because I didn't even realize that some people grieve and cry or whatever. And me, I stuffed it down. And when I was stuffing it down, I didn't have all the joy that I have on my face. I was just like kind of automatic and whatever. And that was great feedback. But if one person sends you a nasty gram out of the blue that doesn't even resonate or has no truth or alignment with your message, say thank you. That's great. And next, right? For the next, let's wait for the next interview. So life is really about navigating and finding what is important to you. And if working with a team is important to you as well, recognizing the power of those pieces of information. So you have a lot of workshops you put people through. Tell me about that, because you have a lot of tools that you use and mechanisms to share your joy and your empowerment.
Yeah, I just had a workshop last Saturday called Goal Achieving Success. It was a 3-hour workshop. And some of my workshops I only do for women. Some of them I do for both. It just depends on the energy I want. I do speak to a lot of crowds that are both genders, which I love. But I tend to be pulled a lot towards women's leadership events. So this workshop basically walked you through how to get out of your own way to achieving your goals, because I believe the mindset piece is always there, as well as the logical pieces to achieving them, which is how to plan out your week and make appointments with yourself and get those distractions out of the way. Unless it's urgent and it's one of your kids or your significant other, they probably can wait a while. We live in a world where technology has taken over and there's this idea that everything is urgent, and it's not. I actually get in trouble sometimes, and I'm saying that loosely, with my man, because he's like, babe, why do you have a phone if you don't answer it? I'm like, honey, I know you. If it's emergency, you'll text me. I'm in the middle of a meeting. I'm in the middle of focusing on writing an article. I'm in the middle of doing something that I've got to put my attention on. But we live in this world of urgency. I'll get private messages through Facebook at 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, are you kidding me? I don't respond. I don't open them. You've got to have boundaries with yourself. You've got to have boundaries when it comes to being with your family. You've got to have boundaries with your clients. So these are the kind of things that I teach, as well as what I call the more foo-foo part, which is the mindset. Because I'm a big believer that the number one obstacle we deal with every day is ourselves. And that's, I think, why I went back to school and got my master's degree in therapy, because I went back at 38 to get my master's degree because I wanted to learn how our brain worked. And I wanted to learn the tools to show people how to change their behaviors, how to recognize that their thoughts that are negative can be shifted to positive. So it's a little bit of all of it.
Yes, I'm really in alignment with all of that as well, because if you believe you can't, you won't. And if you believe you can, you will. It's as simple as that for me, right? Thank you. And, and so interesting, because I also coach a lot of people, and it's so funny. We really believe a lot of the same things, Galit. I mean, there's no mistake you're on the series, because the show is really about getting out of your own way and recognizing that you are, and I'm not preaching, but I really believe this, and believe me, chime in, Galit, if you disagree, but you create the chaos and you get to eliminate the chaos in your life, if that makes any sense. So you have the power to decide how you want to live, and you have the power to just live or have a vision and step into it, right?
Yes, and I want to make a quick point. You used the word effortless, and I get told a lot that I make change look effortless in my life and how much I handle and deal with. That's not true. It's not that it's effortless. It's that we put in the work every day on ourselves, as well as the logical steps. So we all have challenges. Gosh, do I have my share right now. It has been a rough 6 months with some health issues with somebody I absolutely love. But I had to make a choice. Do I just focus on that, or do I recognize I worked my little booty off to get where I am, and so much is going so well to get my message out? So you find a way. Now, please understand, You must take care of yourself in this process. I do not allow myself to get burnt out. I make sure I sleep. I make sure I eat right. I make sure I make appointments just to be. So don't go till you burn out, because you will if you're dealing with your challenges and your life. But you've got to stop. So the balance for me really is, okay, I'm tired. I'm really tired. I better sit on the couch and not move for a few hours, which, by the way, is really tough for people like you and I. But Sunday, I sat on the couch from 3:30 till 7. I got up only to get food or go to the bathroom or whatever I needed to do, and I did not move. And I made an appointment with my Netflix. Now, please understand, there's a difference between making an appointment with your Netflix to distract you from reaching your goals, that I don't do, versus it's time for me to just sit in front of one of my TV shows and not move. So there's a little bit of a confusion sometimes for those that are what I call Netflixaholics. I use it as a downtime. I don't use it in place of. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I recommend, if you haven't seen it on Netflix, Brene Brown's.
I watched it.
Have you watched it on Courage? I love that.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's so fun.
Yes, because courage is something that we all have to have. At some point or another, decisions have to be made. And sometimes it comes out of difficulty, and sometimes it's a decision that you make to live your life with courage. I would say, Galit, it takes a lot of courage to be in a comfortable or familiar career track like commercial real estate, and then push yourself into arena of pure public exposure when you're on stage, when you're on TV, when you're sharing your word. It really opens up yourself to a different level.
Vulnerability. That was her second word. Remember, Meredith?
Yes,
vulnerability.
Thank you. So when you're feeling stretched, like a stretch for me is perhaps going live on TV with very little information, but we're going live in 5, and that's not 5 minutes, 5 seconds. You roll with it, right? When you have those moments where you're really like, that's not terrifying, but when you're pushed into a new audience, a new direction, asked to do a talk for a group that might not be your original vision, but somebody who needs to hear your word, what do you tell yourself to push into something and find to be vulnerable when you're scared, if that makes sense?
So first of all, I need those that are watching to recognize, I believe anybody that gets up in front of an audience always gets some form of nervousness or anxiety before. One of the last speaking engagements I did was in a very different kind of arena. It was a theater setting, and I have not done one that's been this big before. I mean, I stood on the stage that Jay Shetty stood on just a few hours before him. So just so you understand how big this theater was. And I walked into this theater the day before because you want to get as much information as you can to prepare. And it was great that they allowed us to do this. And I just broke down crying. And my best friend was with me. And I'm like, what am I doing? Am I crazy? First thought. I walked up on the stage, looked up into the audience, and again, this was the night before, and I just could not believe myself. And I looked out into the audience, and what I saw in my head was one person that was going to make a different choice that day, that was going to go home and take a word that I said and make a different decision. And so what I do right before I go on stage is I still have anxiety. I have diagnosed anxiety too, Meredith. I don't take any medication, but if you need it, please take it. But I handle it with other natural tools. And my heart starts beating out of my chest. I sweat, I get nervous, and then I tell myself it's not about me. Because see, all that's about me. I'm nervous. I don't want to be judged. People are going to stare at my hair. It's crooked today. Wait, my roots grew out. I have a pimple on my nose, whatever it might be. So then I say, this is not about you. This journey is not about you. This is about the impact you're going to make. And that's why heart-centered is so important when you're doing things like this. And then I take a deep breath. I get on stage and I just turn into me. And I mess up. And I make a fool out of myself. And I don't care. And I just got to this place where I stopped caring. I stopped caring. And you look out into the audience, and Meredith, you can relate to this. Someone's looking at their phone and not paying attention. And then I say to myself, maybe they have an emergency with their child. Maybe it has nothing to do with me. And so I make sure that anything I see, I don't go straight to I'm doing a bad job, they're not interested. Instead, I look for the people that are shaking their head and taking notes and watching me intently. So you want to know more than anything in that moment, just decide it's not about you and just recognize you're human and it's okay to make mistakes.
I love that. And to be completely candid, I believe Galit must be my sister from another mister, because I have a ritual as well before I hit the stage. And it's about centering and grounding myself. And I say, this is all I say to myself. I say, this is important. The message I'm about to give is important. This gets to be fun, and I could save a life today. Because a lot of what I talk about is stepping through fear, even at any cost, to make something, to ask for help is a lot of what I like to encourage people to do. And before we end this interview, I would like to ask you, who has helped you along the way, Galit? Because there are many people I can think of through the years that I don't know if I'd be the Meredith I'd be today if I didn't give them the credit for being lovely mentors.
So except for the common answers, which are real truthful, which is my parents, I'm first generation American. I don't know if you know that. And my parents came to America to follow the dream before I was born. So my mom was pregnant with me. They came to visit and they never went back. Of course, they went back to visit, but never moved back. And so I have a really amazing balance. I have a mom that raised 4 amazing kids and still raises us till today. And then I have a dad that built his own world to be an entrepreneur. And they never gave me a gender-based idea that I could only be one. So I chose to be both. I chose to be a mom of 3 amazing kids, 2 puppies and 2 bunnies. And I chose to start my own business. And I found a way to do both. So I would say that the people, first of all, everybody around me supports me. Even you, Meredith, is someone that's impacting me in a positive way. So I believe that the world is my mentor, and the everyday woman that is struggling and is challenged is my why. But my parents really are my biggest cheerleaders. Mom's gone with me on speaking engagements and gone with me to events. And Dad recognizes that, okay, Galit's doing this right now related to her empowering business. So let me give her a chance to get to me about the commercial stuff. And it just seems to be that they really are my biggest reason for who I am today.
Thank you. And thank you for being so honest, because I know everybody at home, you know, you might be looking for that support. And I would encourage you to reach out to the Galits and Merediths of the world. And if I know that Galit and I are of the same mindset, that you don't have to do it alone. And it's so much better in this world where beautiful opportunities lie ahead of us to lift others up along the way. And I know that's your personal mission. And I am so honored to have you on the It Factor. And before we leave, I really think it's great that you have been so generous enough to give a free gift. And I believe, is it a workbook?
Yes. So there's a 26-page workbook that's related to my book, The Successful Woman's Mindset. And you don't have to buy the book.
I'm sorry, I just have to stop. That's so generous.
Yeah. And you don't have to buy the book to follow the workbook. Now, of course, please buy my book, but you don't have to. So you're going to go ahead and are you going to send the link, or do you want me to share the link?
Actually, it'll be right on your page. Perfect. So people can click and download. And do they need a code or anything?
Yes. So the code, so you go to the website, thesuccessfulwomansmindset.com, and you scroll all the way to the bottom, and you put in the code "Activate Your Power" in caps. So you will download a PDF, it's yours, and it's really amazing because it actually goes through a lot of the things that Meredith and I spoke about: how to believe in yourself, how to embrace your value, how to know your why, how to recognize your work in progress. I mean, such amazing things that I wanted to share with you from my 25 years of being an entrepreneur as well as 46 years of living. So I share real life activities and exercises that I use myself when I find those challenges show up for me.
Well, I am so thankful that you took the time to be on the show. And I just want to share a moment that Galit doesn't know is coming. Galit and I literally met online. Okay, I've been following her. We just found out we have 80.
I've been following you.
Yes, we have 83 mutual friends. Like, how cool is that? And so one of the reasons I reached out to Galit was not only to be on the show, but I wanted to share a speaking connection with her that could lead to another audience that everybody can fly in for if they want, perhaps this fall. But before we go there, I just need to tell Galit. Galit turned around and made an introduction for me about a speaking opportunity, a keynote speaking opportunity in Bali, which I was just awarded. So Galit and I are going to Bali together.
Oh, honey, that's wonderful. Yes.
I just wanted to tell her, I mean, that's the beauty of life.
And we'll be sharing all the links and stuff so you guys can come because it's going to be amazing.
Yes, the public is invited to come to Bali with us, and I've never been, and you've never been, right? We're going to Bali.
If you want to hear something, Meredith, I know you have to go, but I have a picture that's been on my wall for 25 years of the water with the hut in Bali. And I've always wanted to go. And what better way to go than to be part of an amazing conference with amazing speakers and get paid? So it's possible.
And I get to be with my sister from another Vista. So Galit is in Vegas where I used to live, and I'm in Los Angeles. This is so beautiful. And together we're going to go to Bali because of the beauty of connection. So thank you, Galit, for that kind introduction. And if you have any takeaway today from this segment is lead by empowering others, because Galit just doesn't talk the talk, she walks the walk, as do I. So I look forward to sharing opportunities with you, Galit, and all of you in the audience. And it has been a joy to share your story today, Galit. I hope you have an amazing day in Las Vegas. And for those of you at home tuning in, thank you so much for watching. And remember, if you or someone you know has a story that is amazing, don't keep it to yourself. The world needs to know your story, and massive impact is what it's all about. So stay tuned for more. Tomorrow we have another amazing guest. Thanks so much for watching. And thank you, Galit, for being on the show.
Thank you.